Okay, so good afternoon, YouTube. You usually see me here at night, but starting today, we also gonna have meetings on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Okay, so that's why we're here. That's our business English meeting, actually, our business English meeting. And our topic is briefing. Briefing is like a document or a reunion you can make to summarize important information on a project. So we're going to talk about this. Here are our questions. Can you see, guys, the questions on the screen? Okay, very good. So the first one, we did it, like introduce ourselves. So something I'm proud of, I think it is, I'm more courageous than I was at the beginning of the year. I remember that I wrote a letter for myself to read on January 3rd. And I wrote that I wanted to be more brave, to face challenges, and and that's what I'm doing right now. And every single day of this, not every single day of this year, but since April, especially that I started here, I feel like I'm facing my fears and becoming more confident. So that's my reason to be proud of. Sorry, I made a mistake here, but let's move on. Leo, do you have something to share? Question number 1, okay? What's something that you are proud of? Personal life, work life, you name it. Just to warm up a little.
Okay. I believe I can start to talk about this year specifically because was a new year. In this year, I changed my life completely. I changed the city. I can, sorry, I start to talk in English, although I already started to study before, but I didn't talk yet. And in my professional life, I learned new things too. I got a special score in classes of my master degree. I started to programming. I have worked in with data, and this is was a thing new in my life. Although I did the TCC, all right, in economics using data of IBGE, but I was a kid in this area. Today, I in this year specifically for spend more efforts in this. And for now the accumulated, I believe I gain the result of increasing in this skill specifically, and I proud for these things.
Yeah, very good. I'm really happy to have you here, by the way. And I can see the improvement, not the whole process, but some parts of your improvement. And thanks for sharing with us. And how about you, Bruna? Do you have something? I'm sure you have a lot of good stuff.
Yes, sure, like you all guys. So mainly in English, because when I start to study English, I was imagining it's impossible. So I need to practice all the time. And I never imagined to got a job abroad. So it's incredible. So when I was a kid, I didn't never imagine something like this. And here on TNT, I can see the improvement of me and Sarah and the other people. So I'm very proud of us because we are putting many effort here. So it's not easy and we're trying and with mistakes, but we are here every day to improve. So I think very grateful with this platform and my job, of course. Yeah, so I think it's the biggest challenge that I faced is got a job abroad because with my English, because when I start to do this job, my English is really bad. It's not perfect nowadays for sure, but it's a intermediate, basic to intermediate, so I didn't understand the meeting, so it's very hard because I wanna cry because I don't understand, and yeah, it's very very sad. But nowadays I can understand it 90% sometimes, on depend of the people I was talking. For me, native speakers, it's hard to understand, but no native speakers, so it's more, it's easier. Yeah, I'm proud of me this year because I was focusing in English, and probably next year I will start to study Italian or Spanish. I don't know, but I will try someday.
I'm sure
how
you
about
already know the place
Yeah, for sure.
to study the others.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank you.
Diane.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's the same. I want to say about the language studying because this year I focused on English, on my English development, and I'm proud of this because focusing in my self learning. So I'm not taking private classes,
Mhm.
But even considering this, I think that I'm really engaged in this language learning, not only in English. Recently, I started learning Spanish too, so alone in this self-learning too. So I think that is complicated to maintain, the focus on the learning in the books and even in these talks. So I'm proud that I can continue, talking and joining the sessions and things like that. So that's it.
Yes, very good. I think we can totally relate to what you mentioned about how hard it is to keep it being focused on the process, everything can be distracting, right? A bug or something, the color of your room and the dogs, a lot of stuff can happen.
Yeah, like me, I think everyone do the same. You start and stop, start and stop, because it's like never achieve our goals, so it's a long process. My gosh.
Yeah, but when you see some results, you feel motivated to keep studying, and that's why we are here, right? You
Yeah,
can say, oh, I'm
yeah.
more comfortable, more confident, so I will keep doing the same thing, maybe in some
Mhm.
different ways, but keep a base to develop and grow up, right?
Yeah, but for me, sometimes I'm feeling stuck because I didn't realize my level growing, just when I react some videos on YouTube, talk, and I can see, but in daily routine, I cannot see the improvement. So
Yeah, baby steps, but definitely the improving is there. So let's go with our topic. Like I said, briefing. Okay, do you the questions here? So I won't give you spoilers. The first question: what definitions come to mind when you hear the word briefing? I'm gonna start because I created the topic, so I want to give you some tips, maybe some hints, something that could be helpful. So as far as I could search, it is the words that come to my mind is planning, data as well, and budget. The three words that came to my mind because you can't do anything without knowing how much you are willing to spend, how much is available for your company, And planning is the base for everything, not only in our professional life, but also, especially at the workplace, you have to know where you are and where do you want to go, where are the steps together, So for me, planning as I went to business administration, I studied business administration. I always heard about planning, and until today, it is something very frequent in my life. And budget, planning, and data, because it's how we make good decisions, right? So putting together the things that I've learned in my graduation and the things that I've studied about, specifically briefing, I would say these 3 words: budget, planning, and data. Yeah. And how about you, Diane?
Well,
Do you know
for me,
briefing?
yeah, for me, it's related to interviews, because in my last job I used to work in the HR area too. So, but I used to work in the talent acquisition area, and the first step of the whole recruitment process was the briefing step. So we call this briefing because it was a step. It was a stage when which we used to talk with the manager for that position, for their that vacancy, and we used to align, the requirements and the expectations for that position that we were going to open. So we call like this just because of this alignment. So in my case, what comes to mind when I hear briefing, it's like this, it's the process of align up position, to describe the requirements and this kind of stuff. How about you, Leo?
For me, is something similar as you told. When I think in briefing, springs my mind something related to a professional resume, that area in CV where you write a briefing about you. And I never thought deeply, we shall say, in this talk. Right? I never thought more deep in this. For me, it's only related to a professional resume, and that things you when you are reaching searching, I don't know, for a job.
Yeah, very good. We are here to exchange ideas, okay? So everybody can give a little bit about their perspective, experience, and point of view, okay? Don't worry, we're gonna have more questions to get in the topic, and maybe some other ideas will appear, okay? And Bruna, what do you think?
So I agree with you all said. Like the first thing that bring in my mind is like briefing. It's a resume of something or someone. Like if you need to introduce yourself, you need to present some project, so you need to have a briefing. And for you to need to plan with data or other things and to help in your presentation, so I think it's we can see it in every project or business, just to resume and presenting I would say a briefing away in a short way to the other people. Notice what you start, what you do want to do, so like talking about. So just a part of you or your project to present for someone else. That's it.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for sharing. And let's move to the next question, okay? Do you usually work with briefing in your field? how is it for you? So you can start by explaining your field so we can understand better, okay? Dai, can you start? I'm gonna call you Dai, okay? I hope you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem. Sure. Well, nowadays I'm still working in HR area. That is called human resources, but specifically in business partner area. That is a sub area in HR. We have a lot of sub areas, and I work in the business partner area. In this area, we are responsible for making a connection with all the company areas. Like with the marketing, with the commercial, this kind of stuff. We are like HR arm to these areas or something like that. We help them with HR issues. And in my area, let me see the question. How if I usually work with briefing? Yes, I consider yes, because we have a project, but is more like an action that we do like every 3 months. That is called calibration sessions. In these calibration sessions, we normally discuss talents. So we follow up on projects, actions, just to see how people are going. If there's someone that needs to be promoted or even transferred for another area. Things like that. And we discuss this with each area. So we make a lot of sessions with each team to discuss what we are going to do in the next 3 months or something like that. And I consider this is a briefing session or something like that because, as I said, we need to discuss everything and, get the details about projects, actions, and people. So I think that is something related to briefing, but I'm not sure. But that's it. How about you, Bruna?
So nowadays, I'm not working with briefing because I'm more operational and analytical people. But in the past, when I worked in Brazil, I had the most of my projects and like training with sales guys and the other people. I used to do a briefing, but I'm missing it nowadays, but I don't have too much to share for now. And how about you, Sarah?
Yeah, right now I'm looking for a new position, sending some CVs. So I don't have a full-time job. Sometimes I'm here, like on TNT, giving some classes, helping some students for beginners, and that's how I'm working lately. But sometimes we have the like a dimension, like a meeting that is to align some details about the next steps, how to help the community that we like to call TALKNTALK community, because we are providing some relationships and networking here, so. But I don't have the briefing like a document, this type of briefing, because I look it up and you can have a briefing like a meeting, or a briefing like a document where you put together information like budget, like brand information as well. So that type of briefing I don't have, but some meetings to put things together and solve problems maybe and think about the next steps. Yeah, that's about it. And you, Leo? I know you're a scientist, so maybe you can share about it as well.
Yeah, in my year before I briefing myself every day in TNT. All right, in the section introduce yourself. But in my area, we get used to briefing only in seminars, all right? In paper, when you present your working paper, all right? Your paper in applying, some applies in a job market. Academics have a paper special, all right? When which you use to competition for a job in a job, and I accustomed thinking about in briefing only when for unique or for only on time when you elect to make your CV. All right. But have another situation too, and Diane talk about project. I believe in a project in data, for example, when working with data and programming anyway, you in my GitHub, for example, have a one section about me, right? Read me. How could I say? Small things when you use it to briefing yourself. In my case.
Yeah, I get it. Like this word briefing, it's on purpose. It has brief in the word because it's supposed to be something just to summarize, information. It's not supposed to be long. So maybe you are practicing a little bit about briefing when you are talking about your career to make a CV or something like this. So that's a good point. Thank you, Leo. And guys. Question number 4. In your opinion, what are the most important elements in a briefing? I'm gonna go with Bruna because she looks so smart, so I'm gonna ask her.
I'm not the right person to talking about briefing, actually, but in my opinion, I guess the need to have something that they straight in the point, so like in a presentation, so you need to keep attention in details, but not too long, just a little part of your project, and for your forgot the name, pessoas te assistindo have some minds that's what's going on, what you're talking about, and yeah, just a resume, I guess, but I'm not sure. How about you, Sarah? You can explain and teaching us.
Oh my gosh, I'm not teaching, just sharing some of. It's not fair because when I create the questions, I have to search, So for me, it's kind of stealing, not stealing, but a little bit. But anyway, I would anyway, there is this little voice in my head saying ne and so whenever I'm speaking English, this devil tries to break me down. But let's go. I would say, for example, you have to put the information about. I mentioned budget. It is very important, and maybe a little description about your customer, your target, because if you are trying to convince them, they know who they are, but maybe if are other people participating in the meeting, and it's important to who is participating to keep up with the information, with the things you are sharing, And I also say you have to be clear in the language as well. So it's not only about the things you say, but how you say, how you present this information to others. And for now, that's what I can remember. But like Leo said, Diane said, Bruno, you said some things very important, and different details about the briefing. So I don't think it is like a closed answer, It's something everyone can share something, and we can make maybe create some impressions about it. Yeah. And you, Dai?
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I think that it needs to be short. The first thing to mention is this, but I also think that of course, it depends on the kind of briefing that we are doing or are making. But I think that in general, it's important to talk about the deadlines too, the times that we have to make the things, and also the next steps, because at least for me, it's very important to, leave the meeting knowing what I need to do after the meeting or for the next week or something like that. So it depends on the kind of briefing, but I think that these 3 points are the most important ones. The summary, the deadlines, and also the next steps. But in general, it's this.
Very good. And you, Leo? Want to share something about it?
Yeah, I believe in my case, academics academics work with consultoria too. In a research project, I believe what the most important thing will be the questions, the questions of research, and join or join what the employer or customer want, and how you and how you can do it. All right, and for this you need a methodology. In my case, it will be a empirical strategy, adequada, and what else? A good people, right? And a good team working. It's important too, and the synergy, right, between the people. It's important to reach out to your subject.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is about communication, and I think your answer is related to the next question, because in my perspective, at least, briefing can be like a way to communicate, right? To make this summary to communicate with the others about your decision, so everyone can be updated about what's happening. So question number 5, what other tools can be used in a project in order to establish an effective communication? Like briefing is an option. What others could we use in our routine at work? Let's go with you, Leo. What do you think? Maybe you can give some examples about your field as well.
What tools or other tools? I can I believe establishing initial communication before to work can change how way of your project, because for example, I start to work with another professional or a researcher in another country, in another institution. Yes, I can know more about for your CV, your site, anyway. But only conversation, right, can broke the barriers and close us to work. And I don't know how tools, all right, without this is for example a meeting or a Zoom, but I believe it is spring naturally in communication. I never told in it, all right, how to do. I only do get used to work.
Yeah, sometimes we don't think, we just do the things, and then when we have to say something about it, we are kind of, oh my gosh, what I'm going to say, right? But I understand you have to be simple sometimes. Talking and expressing your ideas can be a good way too. Thank you, Leo, for sharing your opinion. And how about you, Dai?
Well, for me, I like to use some Microsoft tools during my meetings or something like that at work. And I think that it's important to take notes, and share the notes after the meeting, because it's important to other people to follow up the notes and even be updated about the meeting. I think that it is also important to have a planner, a shared planner or something like that, like a Miro or something like that, where people can see, all the group can see, each step of the project or of the action that we are going to do together or something like that. And I don't know, I just can think about these two tools that can be a complement for meetings or projects. I don't know. How about you, Bru?
So I'm not sure with these tools, but if I can imagine it's like a big project, so we can see a lot of tools like I said, Miro, we have Jira and Trello, Canvas, whatever. So I think all these tools can help us to organize our thoughts, and after the meetings, share the bullet points with the other audience. Yeah, like I don't know if we have that are just one exactly to work in. I don't know, but I've read some things about it, and I had used it to Trello to organize some projects, but I am not sharing with the other people, just for me organize my stuff. Yeah, that's it. And you, Sarah?
Yeah, I don't have ideas either. It's just, I think you guys mentioned a lot of good stuff. I don't usually use, because my previous works, it doesn't work like this. It didn't work like this. But for example, some companies have software, a platform where they can put all the information, and like the whole team can see. So maybe that could be an option as well, to everybody be in the same page, so we know where we are, and that's a way to go. But I think the options that I mentioned, I didn't know. Maybe you can write it out so I can search later. Okay, because it's good to know about different options, even for a personal organization, because I'm really messy sometimes with my time. Thank you, guys. And how about question number 6? That's a good one. Like I said, briefing has the word brief in it. It has a reason for that, right? So do you think you are a good person to summarize information, or maybe not? Bruna, do you have this skill?
Yes, I need to, because I forgot quickly the things that I learned. So I prefer to write some things and to rereading these notes and working with some Trello and tools just for remember what I need to do. And yeah, because if I put many things in my mind, probably I will forget something, So yeah, I need to do it because it works for me. And how about you, Leo?
I like it to make a note. It's helped me very much. I use Trello too a lot. Today I need to I start to make a web spread in a how could I say TSE in English, electoral Brazilian part, right? Anyway, I need to make a table contains votes, municipal votes in 2020 account, and I needed to make a web scraping through Python, and it's a large work inclusive for me. I am beginner in Python. I came to Trello to organize me, subdivided in section topics, and Trello is let's say facilitador. Anyway, work helped me a lot for ever things idea spring in my mind. I get used to noting Trello. Before I used paper and pen, but I noticed this is started. I get disorganized and I lost the paper too. So, but I use it yet paper and notes because I needed to make a account, right? Realize exercise, but after I take a photos, use some copy paste, just like came scanner to scan my exercise, my manuscripts. But back to the question. Yeah, I believe for the things I do get used to work relatively well for me. And for you, Dai?
For me, I consider that I'm good at summarizing information. In general, when I am in a meeting, a work meeting, for example, I can just summarize the main points, the most important points, and write down everything and then share with the other participants. And I don't know, it's just easy for me, but maybe it's just because I'm used to study alone, so I needed to improve this ability, so it's kind of natural for me. But I don't know, I don't know what to answer, but in general it's easy. Don't know why. How about you, Bru? I don't know if you already answered.
Yeah, she was the beginner, the first one.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was just going to say that for me, like I'm the kind of person who paints the whole notebook because sometimes I think, oh, this is important. Oh, but this is also important. So it's kind of tough to summarize sometimes. And even when I'm talking, I know that I have to stop talking when I'm repeating myself. So I stop because I know I couldn't summarize so well. So I am still working on this. And I think being here, it's some way helpful because you have to give everybody time to speak as well. So you gotta be short, but also pass the idea without me saying the information we want to share, you know. So that's also something we can learn with each other and in the whole process. And question number 7. Dai, can you read this one for us so I can rest my voice a little? Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Number 7, right? Talking about briefings, do you think copying the style of other companies might work? I'm not quite sure if I understood the question, but I think I will answer what I got. I consider that yes, this copying thing can help companies in general, because when you're at least in the HR area, we do a lot of benchmarks just to learn with other companies, probably in the same area, companies in the same field, what they are doing, how they are doing things in general. And we used to do that a lot in talent acquisition. And in this benchmark, we can learn a lot of things. In one of these things is how to make a briefing, for example, or which kind of tools we can use, or which kind of tools the other companies are using. And I think that's pretty important to do that, because you can update your area. You can know what other companies are doing, maybe what kind of new technology we have available, and then we can be updated about it too. So in my opinion, of course can helps and works a lot, this copy thing. How about you, Leo?
I know spider copy. I guess I will be that is the name. Used to detected a copy, all right, in an academic text. In a project, I believe you with the time you the teams identify the copy, all right, in a cheap copy. Imposters are revealed. Revealed. I don't know. Fall your mask anyway. I believe only the time it's sufficient.
Yeah, but do you think it is positive or negative to copy projects or maybe some things from other companies? If you had a project, would you copy other ideas, or would you prefer to create your own project, for example?
It depends the case. I believe you have a point of the start. It did not a copy. All right. We use the knowledge accumulated of the humanity, tranquility. This is not the point, in my opinion. But depend if you have a innovating idea, it's more difficult because you haven't a point of start.
Yeah, it's good to be creative, but sometimes you don't have reference and maybe you can't see how it works, if it works, in fact, right? So you need some references, like a start, like you mentioned. Yeah. Very good, Leo. Thank you. And Bruna?
So I think that someone creates something and you can copy, no problem. But you need to change some things, because some companies have different things and different people, like there are agile methodologies, so you can copy some concepts and details, but you need to create your own projects, like the companies can get some points and get some tools to help you and need to change for themselves, but I don't see it's a good bad point, but if you copy everything, so it's totally bad. So we need to pay attention, and if you just get some points and ideas, no problem at all. That's it.
I agree with you. I think we need to search for something, but not use as it yours, you know. Maybe you have to give some credit as well to the other companies, not in a big way to promote them, but just to be fair, you know. And I think this question's related to the next one. Maybe we can skip because it's similar, in my opinion, like how we can differentiate. And you said something about we adapting the briefing, the document, and the ideas for your company. So I'm gonna ask you the next one, question number 9. And I'm gonna ask Bruna, can you read for us, please?
Sure. So nowadays, we work frequently about data-driven culture. In this scenario, do you believe it's easier than before to find reliable information to work with? So I agree, and I'm trying to become a data analyst because data is the future, so you cannot affirm something without data. So it's really, really important nowadays. And some companies already changed their minds, but not every company, because I was working in a Japanese company before in Brazil, so it's hard to change their minds, you know, because the older people, it's very, I don't know this word, but very difficult to change, you know, just always we need the same thing, so we need to keep in on it. So I don't agree, and I don't like this kind of people or company. So we need to change and keep other inspirations from the new companies like startups or other things. So yeah, for me, it's totally need to change their minds. And how about you, Dai?
I agree with you, Bru. I confess that I'm not very used to this subject. I don't have so much contact with that. So probably maybe I will say some bullshit or something like that, but please forgive me. But in general, I think that yes, we do have more information nowadays, but at the same time, I feel that we don't. At the same time that we have more information, we also have more unprecise. I don't know if this word exists, you know, but fake informations like fake numbers or things like that. So I think that it's harder nowadays to make a filter, you know, like to select the proper and the right informations to use, like in a project or even in a research in the case of Leo or something like that. Because at the same time that we have a lot of articles and this kind of stuff, at the same time it's hard to know how they were measured, you know, what kind of confiabilidade the information has, or something like that. But that's it. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, you didn't say any BS, by the way. You did a great job. And for me, I have to agree with you. I think on the internet, wherever we go, the information is there. There is even a term called infoxication, that when you feel like you have too much information and you don't know what to do with, you kind of lost. So that's the challenge nowadays, to know, okay, I need data to work. I need to rely my project on something, but maybe if you use something wrongly, you lost credibility for your clients and for the other companies who are trying to steal them, by the way. So it's really tricky how you're gonna use this information. I really like the points you girls mentioned. Yeah. And I'm gonna give you a lot of word, but let me just share with you the link to survey. Okay, you can give your feedback, a rate, suggest new topics. And the other one is you can watch this conversation later on YouTube. And now, Leo, please go ahead. Your mic, okay.
Okay. We already talked about. I agree totally. In a technology society which we live today, data is super important and necessary, and is a great troubleshooter for the manager, create new technologies, new products, to have better insights, and is the future too. In the future too, is super important, and I believe data can be used to a bad for bem too. Depend how trusted the company and the law of the country are, and à medida que that country was increased, we needed to regulate it and thinking about as society how solution and avoid our data, right? Our data used to anyway to any anti-ethical things.
Yeah, very good. We even have the LGPD, I don't know how to say in English, the law to protect data. So maybe Bruna is familiar with this law a little bit more than I am, by example. But very, very good points you mentioned, Leo. And we're about to finish our meeting, but I'd like to thank you so much for your presence. I gotta confess, I was nervous because I usually talk about, I don't know, family, something that pops in my head, to something more informal, you know, and today we have to talk about business, but it wasn't like a boring meeting. For me, it was very natural and fun to be with you. And let me just ask Dai, because I want to hear your opinion. Have you ever participated in business English immersions? Do you have some thoughts you'd like to share?
It's my first time in the business sessions, conversations. I already participated in the immersions, but it was first time in the business one, but it was great. It was awesome, as you said. It was pretty natural, so the time passed very fast, at least for me. And I don't know, you guys are amazing too, so the conversation was pretty good. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks for coming. Next week we are not gonna have the meeting because we have an event for TALK. But next 14 days away, 14 days ahead, we're gonna have December 1st, okay? And our topic is gonna be brainstorming. I think it's gonna be great because it's a tool we always use in our work life and maybe in personal life. You can ask for ideas and advice, okay? And that's all for now. But Bruna, do you want to add something?
Yeah, just to say, it's like a normal conversation, so it's amazing as usual. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna end the live now, and thank you YouTube for watching us, and you can subscribe for the conversations later, okay?